passing of time, the turning of seasons, summer's end, new school years, holidays over, and a ticking clock. I can hear it, can you? There are moments and times in our lives that the clock ticks louder. Summer's end for me is one of those, school years changing another. I wanted to slow the tick, to hold on, to seize the days, to halt the changes. August. I've tried to slow the ticking, and this is how. I wanted to share. So it's been so hot in August, the balcony has looked like this. A pop-up tent to hide in, chasing shadows around the van and sitting in paddling pools. In fact, most of August we spent in the water, like this day, river swimming up at Hafford surrounded by waterfalls, or on Borth Beach. This our view for days on end. A new swimmable lake that we found. We had paddleboard lessons, which was just so much fun. Of course, my kids total naturals at this. Me, well, not quite so much. Although I'm standing in this picture, don't be fooled. I bounced off that board so many times, falling in, and spent most of my time going around the lake squealing, trying to stand up like this. Rupert, of course, the most natural swimmer of us all. We spent nights chasing sunsets down at the beach, with weather so hot that normal empty beach car parks were still packed with cars at sunset time. But it was wonderful. 10 days here with the children under these big skies during their summer holidays. And of course, Aberystwyth with kids means a trip to Molly's sweet shop. Look at this place. What a sweetie shop. Complete with a Thomas train that runs around the roof of the shop. So embracing moments together, adventure, the new and the familiar, or to slow the tick in this place. This place of laughter and sunset picnics and so many memories. Our hide and seek games, our tag games. As my kids grow up, I can sense a closing of some of these days, a rounding off of memories. It makes me want to grasp and hold on too tight. I have to remind myself to loosen the grip, to unknot the apron strings. It's hard when magical memories match the magical landscape. There is a clock ticking. I can feel it around me. But for now, we play, we laugh, we chase, and we make more memories. And my soul soaks in every single second of it with awe and joy and wonder and endless gratitude for these days and these moments. As that clock ticks, I'm reminded of the words of Nikita Gill's poem, "Child, why did no one ever tell you that you cannot turn people into homes? People are rivers, ever changing, ever flowing. They will disappear with everything you put inside them. Still, your home does have a heartbeat, but it isn't one locked in anyone else's chest. Just look inside your own. So through the heady and hot days of August, spending most of my days in Wales, I felt at times a melancholy grasping at time instead of a free flow of enjoying these days. My emotions seemed heightened, raw even at the moment. My emotions challenging me at present to not pass on the anxiety, to make my little ones' paths wobbly. I'm wanting them happy too hard, wanting them okay too fiercely. It's been exhausting for all of us. It's something I'm addressing at the end of August and moving forward, hoping that our wobbly paths are only the ones that we choose ourselves, like these at Go Ape in the incredible Cannock Chase, a day spent here in August, a home to werewolves, black-eyed ghouls, ghost stories, and very brave children escaping their mother's anxiety high up in the trees. Amazing children insisting that they not only do this course, but do it with no hands. On other days with my big girl, a trip to Atwell Farm.
Oh, Tilly. My first time floating a ship.
Is it? He's lovely, look how big he is.
Have I made a friend?
You have, but he wants to see if you've got any more.
Oh my gosh, look at how cute that is. Such a beautiful day with Tilly in charge, and every time I see goats, I just want them. I think I was a goat herder in a previous life. Look at that little one. That's so cute. It's just so... Look at its face. Tilly loved it. We named lots of these animals Tilly, and we rounded off the day with a glitter tattoo. So peaceful settings in August for my unsettled soul have shown me that coming back out into the world after my hiding is challenging. I'm still easily triggered, like this walk when I arrived back in Wales child free, an aggressive man on the beach accusing me of ruining his dog training, Rupert refusing to leave the river after 2 ducks nearly landed on his head. It became ignore mom and catch a duck quest. It saw me hyperventilating, spending evenings in emotional release exercises to recover, and escaping to the woods. But what woods they were. I've decided where moss and ferns thrive together, magic resides. The moss and ferns a sign. Add in a few stream-filled glades, and there's a recipe for fallen trees to unleash the voice of the spirit of place, clear and loud, asking questions. Tarot readings in the wild, adventure tarot with spirit of place. This walk and reading taking 2 days. 2 days of pure magic. Natural baptisms, secret places, genius low-key, and finding my first ever hard-skinned puffball mushroom in amongst these magical woodlands. And then a gift at the end, finding a brand new river walk. With the weather so hot and the walk having been over 2 hours, it was welcome relief to get near the water. The dogs loved it. I walked along this beautiful bank with fields of heather, looking for a way down to a beach somewhere I could bring the kids back to swim on a warm day. I knew it.
And finally I found it. And watching Rupert swim, well, that just never gets old. He loves it so much. This 2 days of walking and exploring tarot with the spirit of place, topped off by this incredibly magical village here to what I am now calling my Church of Names. It's just reaffirmed to me that outside in nature, Adventure Tarot, this is where my spiritual practice lies. So not grasping too tight and learning to let go a little bit, to go with the flow, to stay mindful and getting outside with my tarot deck. It's all been a big part of August, and the deck that's accompanied me outdoors on adventures is this one, the Grail Tarot with its Tree of Life backs. I have found this deck so magical in August. It's delivered up repeating cards and has worked beautifully answering questions posed by nature itself. That's the only way I can describe what's happened in August, where the spirit of place has spoken to me through uprooted trees and stones and streams, where the spirit of place has literally devised the spread that I should be working with as I've walked through the landscape. It wasn't intentional. I hadn't left my door thinking today I will do a tarot reading outside. It just so happened that the Grail Tarot was in my bag and nature started speaking. And this little tarot deck was simply perfect for the job. Also in August, I started using this deck, an old deck, the Shining Tribe Tarot, which I'd picked up secondhand. And oh my goodness, this tarot deck is amazing. This book is brilliant. I'm slowly working through reading this book. You've got stones and you've got rivers, you've got trees, and you have birds as the suits. It's a tarot deck that goes its own way, and I am so pleased that I finally got round to working with it because it is really spectacular. It also just happened to fit in with Mistress Ray's tag about tarot throwbacks, which I started working with later in the month as well. And look at these cards, they are beautiful, they're colourful. It might be an old deck, but I think the artwork is just so modern. And I have to say again, it's delivered magic. The beginning of the month, I began working with it by pairing it with the Braille Oracle, both surrounded in sunshine yellow, and the imagery on both decks working together brilliantly. A really powerful and impactful pairing again in August. It never ceases to amaze me how lucky I feel to have this beautiful imagery and these lovely decks to work with. The Braille was another deck that I had wanted for a while, a deck that at the time you couldn't get in the UK, another deck which came up secondhand at just the right time and at just the right price. I really do believe that if you are destined to work with a deck, then it will find its way to you. And look at some of these spreads that I did in the month. And now at the end of the month, I am doing a study on the Rivers suit in this deck, which is Cups. And I just thought, in a month where my emotions have felt heightened and I've had issues to work on, that the suit of emotions and the rivers would be a good one to study. And of course, my Celtic decks have been in use, along with the Reclaim Oracle, which is an emotion wheel in a deck. I've been really trying to work on emotional literacy and being able to name my emotions again to combat some dissociation that's crept back in. And the Reclaim Oracle, with its emotions named, has been really, really useful for this. I've been pairing it with some of my older Celtic decks, again to match the tag of Tarot Throwback. Here you see the Reclaim paired with the Celtic Wisdom Tarot. This pairing this month has been a complete joy to work with. These two decks paired have been a really fantastic way of naming my emotions and beginning to understand them again. I've really felt a call from the Morrigan in August, and that's why I've pulled some of these Celtic decks out. This was a deck that I had decided to work with anyway, even before the Tarot Throwback tag. It was out and being used anyway, but paired with the Reclaim Oracle, which, like I said, is my emotion wheel in a deck. It's just been wonderful. Also, this Celtic Tarot and the Celtic Oracle as well. Here you see the Celtic Oracle paired with the Celtic Wisdom Tarot. Look at these two together. These two are so fantastic together, both visually and in the way they speak with each other. It's been really a wonderful month of decks. I think you can see here how beautiful they are together. And to match that idea of emotion wheels, a lot of these healing tarot spreads that I've been working with this month, I've laid them out in the shape of a circle as well to match the emotion wheel. I've kind of really tried to key into that idea of a healing circle, an emotion wheel, emotional literacy. And I've really lent on tarot in August to support me with this. And these decks, these Celtic decks, and also the Voice of the Morrigan and the Voice of Nature have really helped. Here you see the Celtic Wisdom paired with the Celtic Tarot. Again, another old Celtic deck that I picked up secondhand. And this has worked beautifully. This has been my go-to pairing for August. The Celtic Tarot is more pippish in the minors, and it's really been the first time that I've really loved working with a pip deck, so that's really been interesting. I felt that that's opened doorways up for me for wanting to explore pips a little bit more, and also possibly Marseille as well. But for August, my older Celtic decks, healing spreads, layouts in circles, and the idea of emotion wheels and naming emotions and exploring emotions with tarot has been incredibly important, useful, and healing. In fact, I did share one of those circular spreads in August in a video, and I got a lovely response back from that. So I will be sharing more of these spreads for healing next month as well. Also this month, these two decks, the Ancestral Tarot, the Ancestral Path Tarot with the Brian Froud Fairy Oracle. Again, a really surprisingly lovely pairing. I think the earthy colours just visually in the borders of the Brian Froud and mirrored in some of the colours in the Ancestral Path Tarot just visually tied it together But also I've loved the readings as well that I've got. This is the first time I've ever paired the Brian Froud Fairy Oracle. It's never wanted to be paired before, but with this deck this month, it was just brilliant and I loved it. I had some amazing readings with these two decks this month as well. I don't honestly think that this is a pairing that I would have put together or even thought of trying if it hadn't been for the fact that these two decks both fitted for the tag Tarot Throwback. So decks that were around before 2002, as was this deck, my Harmony Angel cards deck. At the end of August, I paired this with the Shining Tribe Tarot and also this one, my Osho Zen Tarot, both pre-2002, both fitted the tag along with my angel cards. And these three working together with the Shining Tribe as my main deck, the Osho Zen as a clarifier deck, and then a single card pulled from the Harmony Angel cards, have been wonderful. This is what is out on my desk right now at the very end of August, and again it's just given me some really fantastic healing readings. I've been doing action readings with this, like what to do right now, next and after that. So it's just been wonderful in a month where I have repeatedly felt a little bit stuck. These three have been the unstickers. Who would have thought that these three together would work? But look at them. I think they really do. So tarot in August, it's been magical. Older decks, my Celtic decks, healing readings, emotional literacy and circle spreads. All linked as well with my work at the altar. The Crow Tarot sits out on my altar, and my Eight of Wands card, which has been there for a while, got replaced by the Judgment card. And the Judgment card has stalked me all August in all of the decks. The Judgment card, a call for renewal from the Morrigan. In fact, the Morrigan's voice was so strong in August. I read this book as part of my spiritual walk with the Morrigan. This book was just fantastic. I think if you have any call for working with the Morrigan, if you're feeling pulled towards working with this deity, then this is such a fantastic book and a practical book to read. I loved it. So I was doing daily work at my altar. I was reading for the Morrigan, but I also printed out various emotion wheels, which I spoke of earlier. In fact, healing wheels in all different shapes and sizes, which you can find on Pinterest if you're also interested in doing this. And what I did every day, I did exercise, then I would do a 10-minute emotional release exercise, which I would then burn on the Morrigan altar. You can see here emotional release work, then torn up, ready to be burned. And then the circle again. I started working with this circular deck and I pulled the dance card. On my Kanban board for months has been the tag to dance daily, so I added this in honour for the Morrigan, just one track chosen on Spotify daily to dance with. And with fun and magic as a theme and circles, how about umbrellas in a wet field for circles? This field I wanted to creep in unnoticed because I had no kids with me, but that was my pink chair. I was first there, soon joined by others getting comfy. For Something very English of me, cinema in the rain. This the first time I'd ever watched Encanto, and I just couldn't resist outdoor at the art centre, even though I didn't have the kids with me this week. And don't you know, surrounded by umbrella circles, the message was the same. Drop the anxiety, go with the flow more. This is something my kids have needed from me all of August. So the final week of the summer holidays, that's what we did. We went with the flow, we calmed it down, we baked pies together. This the best pie you ever did taste, cooked by Busby from blackberries we harvested together from our own garden. And yes, the fact the pie is a circle didn't escape me either. I've also used reading books to stem anxiety this month. Read here with the dogs curled up next to me, in my reading chair on my balcony at the caravan, looking down at the ocean. Library books. The first book I grabbed at the library was this Charlie Lovett book, and it's about a bookseller that gets caught up in a mystery, and I loved it. And it even mentioned the book town Hay-on-Wye, which is where I grew up in Wales, so it was lovely to hear the town of Hay described. I also grabbed another Charlie Lovett book, The Lost Book of the Grail. This one was fantastic. Again, set around the idea of ancient manuscripts, the Lost Grail. This time the Nantios Cup was mentioned, that's housed across the hill in the Library of Wales. The Nantios Cup, which was said to have been brought from Glastonbury by the Cistercian monks to this abbey just down the road from me, this abbey called Strata, Florida. I'd never been here before, but reading the book of the Lost Grail, I just had to come and visit a place where the Nantios Cup, a possible Holy Grail, had been stored and hidden. The story goes that the Nantios Cup was removed from Glastonbury to be hidden here in the abbey. However, when all the abbeys were destroyed, some monks transferred the cup secretly to Nantios Mansion, the house I visited with the labyrinth and the ghost monks a few videos ago. So this place, with its rich history, its links to the Holy Grail, and also a burial ground for generations of Welsh princes, has some incredible history. This big stone also mentions that it's also the burial place of a famous Welsh poet. He's said to be buried in this churchyard just the other side of the gate under the yew tree. So it is an amazing place to visit. I felt a real call again to get the gilt tarot out of my bag and pull my daily cards here, which I did just before I went next door to visit the old farm buildings next door, which they are now converting into an exhibition place, which was also a fascinating documentation of the history of the 8 buildings around the abbey and the farming life around the abbey, including buried shoes yet again found in the floor, just like the shoe on the windowsill at Margaret's house. The superstition of burying shoes somewhere in a house to ward off evil spirits. So it's been quite the month, seeing me returning home to a pretty dead garden, I have to say. A month away virtually in 2 heat waves, but look at the dahlia flowers waiting for me. Also, plants wanting to come back, new shoots on dried out plants. Gardens just want to grow. And where they haven't grown and they've died because they've not been watered, there are seeds waiting to be collected, and roses in second bloom, even though I hadn't been there watering them. And nothing says the end of the summer more than a line of freshly washed hand washing. So as I walk around my struggling garden and see the new seeds coming back, it reminds me of where I started this video, talking about the need to grasp, to hold too tightly. Everything's a circle. There is a revolving, things roll around again. Even my tattoo on my arm, a circle, is for that message. The message has been everywhere this month, in every circle, in every umbrella, in every pie baked. Magic rolls round. The garden yet again showed me this at the end of the month. The seasons roll round again, sunsets come again. It's time to go with the flow and to travel in the circle. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your August was as spectacular as this sunset, and I'll see you next time.